10,000 Maniacs are described as being an alt-rock band, and their origins are from Jamestown, New York. So in 1981, a bunch of people from other bands, including a woman, Terry Newhouse, who started as their singer, who was the ex-wife of their guitarist, Robert Buck, and they formed the band. And in the very early days, the 16-year-old Natalie Merchant was invited to do some vocals. Terry left fairly soon into the history of the band, and Natalie took over. 12 years and 4 albums later, she left, and they had since then a pretty more or less stable personnel. They're still going, and they've produced several albums, and yeah, things are still happening for them. Hi, my name is Dan. So if you know this album and you have an opinion, you might disagree with me, and that's great. I'd love to hear what you think. Stick what you want to in the comments down below, as long as it's not objectionable in some way. I'd love to hear what you think, either about the album or about the review. Yes, I want to talk to you about the subscribe button. So in my videos so far, I've been encouraging people to do the subscribe thing. I've got a handful of subscribers. I'd love to have more. If you want to join me on this journey, so the journey is that my intention is to at least have a crack at reviewing all 3,000 albums in this list. See the information down below of the 3,000 best albums of all time. Where this is the 60th one, so I am 2% in. All right. That's not very far. There's a lot to come, and I'd love to invite you to join me on this journey. So the way to do that is to click the subscribe button down below. However, I have found out that you need to do a little bit more than that if you want to be notified of every video that I do in this series, rather than just highlights. Okay, so you need to click the button, and then it will have this bell next to it, this side. And if you click on the bell, you get a choice, and then if you click on all, you'll then get a notification every time I publish one of these videos, which, of course, I think are the best videos on YouTube. So you should subscribe. You should join me. Seriously, it would give me a great encouragement, and also that subscribe button turns into an unsubscribe button. So if you get sick of me, you can always click that. Okay, right, let's get into this album. This was the third album by 10,000 Maniacs. The singer is Natalie Merchant, who I mentioned in the stuff about the band. The lyrics are mostly written by Natalie as well. No, in fact, I think most of the music's written by Rob Merchant, who's the guitarist. But some of the songs are entirely written by Natalie. In terms of sound, I would describe it as being mostly acoustic rock. It's not entirely acoustic, but it has this kind of 80s alt rock sound to it. And in fact, in some ways, musically, it reminds me quite a lot of R.E.M. There are good reasons for this. Apparently, they have connections with R.E.M. So the kind of sounds that come out quite a lot are things like acoustic guitars. There's electric guitars with no crunch and no heroics. It's definitely rhythm, or maybe arpeggios. There's mandolins, and there's an organ that appears sometimes. There are some other instruments, of course, with drums and bass and stuff, etc. And the backing is very much, it feels like that. It feels like a backing. It's not really about focusing on the instrumentalists in a particular way. And there are good reasons for this, because Natalie has a voice. She has a good voice. In fact, I'd say it's a very good voice. It's a strong voice. In terms of description, I was listening, and I kept thinking, this reminds me of somebody, and I haven't put my finger on exactly who, but I'm going to quote at you. Christine McVie from Fleetwood Mac has a similar voice. Chrissie Hynde from The Pretenders. The thing that really reminds me of Chrissie Hynde is that Natalie has this thing that on a lot of the lines, when she gets to the end of the line, she kind of slides down. So it's like that, which is a thing that Chrissie Hynde does a lot. The actual tone of the voice in some ways reminded me of Debbie Harry from Blondie, which is a bit of an unusual connection, I think. I think that it's a strident voice. It's not grating. It's quite clear and yeah, nicely done. I think her singing could have been actually focused on more than it is in some ways because it is really good singing. The songs are okay. They're mildly interesting. They're not cliched. That again, I feel like putting this in the alt rock bracket kind of might help understand that. It definitely has got this kind of REM thing, even for the subject matter, I guess. There's one song has got a guy singing, and I thought as I listened to this, oh, that guy sounds a bit like Michael Stipe, who's the singer from REM. It turns out, of course, it is. Okay, but he only features a little bit. I would say I quite liked it. My criticism is that actually musically it's a little on the dull side because it's just the backing. Yeah, I don't want to make too much of that. I have given it still quite a good score. The last track is kind of more classical in feel. It's got a cello going on and several other things like that, and it really brings out Natalie's voice, I think, and it's a really nice track. So that's my favourite track. Is the last track on the album. But yeah, I mostly enjoyed it. I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to it, but I certainly wouldn't object to it. That's it from me for now.
I draw a jackal-headed woman in the sand, sing of a lover's face.